The XRP record is pretty old, so you might think that it would have a lot more DeFi TVL attached to it. But that's not the case. There is only $56 million linked to the XRP record in terms of DeFi TVL, which is a bad sign. In spite of this, it worries people who don't know how DeFi works. Starting this year, I think this amount that is linked to the XRP record in terms of TVL is going to go through the roof. Because of the side chains, that's why, okay? Right now, this is where the whole DeFi community starts to connect with XRP. The DeFi side of the XRP ledger market has been pretty closed off for the most part. There haven't been any big bridges, side chains, or anything like that. But that's all about to change. We all know that PeerFises is making this different, right? They did say on March 31 that the wait was over and that they were happy to share that the XRP Ledger EVM sidechain was now live on testnet. Many thanks to the Ripple X development team, Axeler, Common Prefix, and Pierce's teams for working together to reach this important milestone. This is now all set for the mainnet start, which is coming up soon. XRP is now able to work with other coins and be programmed. It's clear that they break down everything you need to know about this. This is just more information about how this works on a technical level. But the big thing that gets me excited is how we can start to connect the XRP ledger to the rest of the DeFi ecosystem. This environment is very big. We've already talked about it several times. Massive amounts of money are linked to DeFi. Hi! Now that we've looked at the big picture of DeFi, we're at about $110 billion for the whole ecosystem. Also, keep in mind that a lot of this has to do with Ethereum. There are 1,300, almost 1,400 protocols that are linked to Ethereum alone, making it the main currency for DeFi right now. Ethereum also makes up about 56% of the whole DeFi community. Everything will be different now that there is an EVM sidechain on the network. Forking. The Pierce's technology team's XRP Ledger EVM has been the most successful testnet ever since June 23. We were able to test the chain with a lot of action, so we know for sure if these are real projects or bots. There are now more than 10 million transactions, more than 50,000 tokens, and almost 4 million smart contracts. This is a big step forward before the mainnet start. Also, the testnet worked really well, so we're not sure how much of this is real and totally active in real projects and things like that. But the testnet is going through a major stress test, which technically speeds up the launch of the mainnet. We know that a lot of projects on the EVM sidechain are connected to the Pierce's side. We could see the validators, bridges, core, audits, providers, explorers, oracles, indexers, dApps, wallets, and more on the XRP Ledger EVM sidechain from Pierce's. This is a very important ecosystem as a whole, and the mainnet isn't even here yet. Always keep in mind that once the mainnet goes live, more projects will likely start to add their information to the XRP record through this sidechain. It makes me very happy. Further to this, if we go over here, they did make a post on the 26th saying that the XRP Ledger EVM is ready. Wallets are all set. Sudi apps are now ready. The infrastructure is all set. Analytics is all set. People on the XRP Ledger are ready. Should we start the mainnet now? It seems likely that this will be released by the end of the month. It's likely that we will, however, we'll see what happens, but this is going to be very important. Everyone should follow Piercist on X to make sure they know what's going on, but the mainnet is going to be a very important event for the XRP system. And I do believe that this EVM sidechain will open up a huge range of possibilities for the XRP system, ranging from DeFi to simple use cases to even utility. You need to remember how to use the XRP system. Start with a lot of use cases that can already be stored on the real network. From there, things will go through the roof. This will open up a lot of possibilities for the XRP system and for XRP itself. I believe this will really wake up the network. You know, XRPs and the XRPL haven't been having a hard time with growth, fame, or price changes. In terms of DeFi and DeFi use cases in general, I think there is a lot more that could be done. That's why these sidechains are so important to me. Also, we got another big update, the XRP Ledger EVM sidechain relationship with Wormhole. This was praised by both Ripple and the Ripple X development team. We've teamed up with Wormhole to make the XRP Ledger and the soon-to-be-released XRP Ledger EVM sidechain able to work with other chains. Developers and companies that want to build cross-chain apps for payment, DeFi, and Rua use cases now have more options thanks to this integration. The best thing about this is the list of uses they just gave. Payments, DeFi, and volvera use cases for tokenization. Because of the AM sidechain, all of those can now grow and even scale quickly on the XRP system. It could also be connected to other networks and communities. So it's going to be a big deal. And now we have that statement itself. With Wormhole coupling, Ripple builds on its multi-chain interoperability infrastructure. It also breaks down a few things about the movement behind stable coins, tokenized assets, and all of this. On the other hand, we don't really have this when we think about crypto. Thought that, yes, everything does need to be linked. No, everyone wants to be in this kind of competition. But big players in the market want to be able to switch between blockchains. They'd like to connect to various blockchains. That's why using more than one chain is so important. That's why I think these EVM sidechains are so very, very important to pay attention to. 2. With this connection with Wormhole, it will be possible to send messages, assets, and tokens across multiple chains. This will allow for more use cases in DeFi, institutional, on-chain finance, and Rua. So, Wormhole already lets more than 200 apps work in more than 35 blockchain environments. It works with institutional goods like stablecoins and tokenized assets. Since its launch in 2020, it has made it possible for over 1 billion cross-chain messages and more than $60 billion in cross-chain volume. Wormhole services are used by big companies like BlackRock, Securitize, and even Apollo. Securitize and even Apollo. It was added after other important interoperability projects were launched across the XRP Ledger community. This will only make the XRP Ledger stronger. I love seeing this then. All of that has a huge support when we think about the future of XRP and the XRPL and DeFi enterprise grade use cases. Also, Dan Reeser from Wormhole, this is the co-founder of Wormhole, said Ripple and Wormhole. Ripple has said that it will use Wormhole's multi-chain for its more than 6 million users. The XRP Ledger and XRP Ledger EVM chain ecosystems will soon be linked to the rest of crypto for Rua, DeFi, tokenized assets, and global payment flows by Wormhole. Would love to see it. Don't forget about Zoto either. Recently, it was reported that this will be a fully community-led approach. This one is going to be very interesting, and it looks like almost everything around the XRP Ledger is starting to wake up. 2 or 2. On the XRP Ledger, we are now in a new age of decentralized innovation. It's the next generation of government built for the XRP Ledger, and it gives members the power to vote, build, and fund innovations in the real world. This is how it works. It is broken down. It is broken down. Of course, when it comes to any kind of DAO, right? A lot of people don't trust DAO because they were always getting money, and most of the time that money would go to nothing. There were times when people would just take the money and run. This changes the game because it is all community-led, and on top of that, we're also seeing this work really well for the ecosystem and community, since it's backed by the ecosystem or community, if you will, full. So when we think about this, we look at the 8th post in this thread, which says, community first. This is how we work. SaoDao is based on 2 ideas, openness, everything is recorded on the chain, and empowerment. Anyone can join, make suggestions, and build. That means that everything can be tracked. Then it was group-driven. And this is exactly what I love to see, because a lot of these DAO used to just back projects that could be a project that a member of the DAO brought up. All of a sudden, the money is being cleaned by being sent to a different wallet that is owned and run by someone from the DAO. All of a sudden, those use cases in those projects never get done. This last one, on the other hand, is driven by the community. People, not insiders or powerful people, choose the tasks. What's happening is very strong because you guys are in charge of it. This is real teamwork with real results, and there is no central direction. This seems like it will be very big. I also think this will speed up the growth of the XRP system and give it a lot of new uses. I just don't see how to move forward. The XRP ledger and XRP don't grow into one of the biggest